Welcome to another episode of my Wheel of Time reread on Reading the Pattern. We'll be talking about The Eye of the World, chapters 18 through 20, in which, for some crazy reason, we decide to trust a man named Mordeth.
This video may include spoilers for all Wheel of Time books. If you have not finished reading the series and do not want to be massively spoiled, stop here or proceed at your own risk. Let's review the notebook of our favorite Ogier to remind ourselves what happened in these chapters.
The group is traveling east along the Camelin Road, with all but Lan and Egwene questioning Moraine's decision to take the road instead of going across country. A group of Trollocs, as many as 500, pursues them from behind, gaining on them and forcing them into another group ahead. Moiraine decides to leave the road and head north. They are forced to stop and fight, and Lan is able to kill a Fade, which stops the Trollocs connected to it. More Trollocs and 3 Fades overtake them. Moiraine channels with earth and fire, exhausting herself to hold them off. Lan convinces Moiraine they must hide in the ruined city of Shadar Logoth, where even Myrddraal fear to enter. The group stops at a large stone building in the once great city, which is now broken and abandoned. Nynaeve makes an herbal tea to help the exhausted Moiraine get some rest. The 3 boys are left alone, and Mat convinces the others to go exploring the city before it gets dark. Mat is hoping to find treasure, and as soon as he mentions this, a man named Mordeth appears and claims to be a treasure hunter. Mordeth asks for their help in moving his treasure. Mat rushes off with Mordeth, and Rand and Perrin follow, although warily.
Mordeth becomes enraged when Tar Valon is mentioned, and then Rand realizes Mordeth doesn't have a shadow and blurts this out suddenly.
Mordeth abruptly snarls and swells like a balloon to fill the room, before shrinking and shouting, "You are all dead," and then disappearing through a crack in the wall. Rand and Perrin brandish their weapons, and Mat grabs a dagger from the treasure to defend himself. Mat doesn't want to leave the treasure, and Rand and Perrin have to drag him out. They make their way back to the others, feeling as if they are being watched. Moiraine demands the truth of them, and they give most of it, though no one but Mat knows he still has the dagger.
Moiraine gives a brief history of Aredal and how it fell to a kind of evil different from the shadow and became Shadar Logoth.
Lan returns with news that there are shadow spawn in the city, and they have to try to make it to the Arenal and across the river. As they head out into the night, Moiraine and Lan are separated from the others by the fog of Shadar, the evil of Shadar Logoth, which is deadly to touch. Moiraine instructs them to meet at the river, and she will find them. Rand leads the rest, but when Trollocs overtake them, he is separated from the others. Perrin hesitates near a city gate, and then meets up with Egwene before they are pursued by Trollocs. They are plunged into the river. Perrin makes it across to the other side with no sign of Egwene.
Shadar kills the Trollocs and Fade after Rand, allowing him to escape, and he meets up with Mat and Tom as they race out of the city towards the river. Tom loses his best knives, killing Trollocs to protect the boys.
They find a large trading boat and jump aboard with Trollocs upon them.
Tom convinces the captain of the boat, Bael Domon, to give them passage to Whitebridge, but Rand and Mat give up the coins they got from Moiraine in payment.
Rand feels guilty for leaving the others behind.
Let's take a look at all the fascinating details and hints of what is to come in Robert Jordan's master plan.
There are actually 2 separate bits of foreshadowing in these chapters for Mat's hanging by the eelfin.
When the group is first attacked by Trollocs, Mat is unhorsed by a noose and rubs at his neck. Later in the city, another Trolloc goes for his neck with a catchpole, and he again rubs his throat.
Mat also has this interesting bit where he spontaneously speaks the old tongue without knowing what he is saying, and this is long before he gets ancient memories put into his head. This appears to be an indication of his old blood as a descendant of Manetheren, and Egwene apparently has it too, though not as strongly. She cannot speak it, though she thinks she almost understands what Mat is saying. When Nynaeve convinces Moiraine and Lan that her herbs can help Moiraine when channeling cannot, this tiny detail foreshadows how important Nynaeve's wisdom skills will be when she uses them to hold off Alana's death to protect Rand all the way in the last battle in Book 14. When Rand briefly sleeps in Shadar Logoth, he has a dream, and it seems to be an ordinary nightmare, but there is, quote, an old man who watched them and cackled with mad laughter the whole time. I would guess that this is Ashamael watching Rand's dreams. When the group splits from Moraine and Lan, it is noteworthy, I think, that it is Rand who takes the lead, not Tom or even Nynaeve. Lastly, we see the second instance of Rand channeling when he jumps aboard the boat and a Trolloc is about to kill him, when suddenly a boom swings out, hitting the Trolloc and knocking it into the river. The lazy Florin Gelb, who was blamed for this, was probably telling the truth about one thing. He did secure the boom, but it was Rand's need that allowed him to channel to set it loose at just the right moment.
Let's discuss the central themes and focal points that these chapters are woven around.
One of the themes that is central throughout the series is miscommunication and the consequences thereof, and we see one really big instance of that here. Moraine fails to fully explain the dangers of Shadar Logoth to the boys and to warn them about what they can expect there. She also asks her questions about whether Mordeth gave them anything in such a way that it left a loophole for Mat to think it didn't matter since he just took it on his own. Now, I'm not letting them off the hook because they should have known enough not to run off anyway.
And I can excuse Moraine because she is absolutely exhausted, having been running on next to no sleep, channeling a ton of the power, and with no one to wipe her fatigue away.
But still, the consequences of this poor communication will end up being huge, likely leading to the split in the party, and definitely Mat possessing the dagger, which will be a huge danger for the rest of this book and the next. The dagger even ends up coming back much later to cause more problems when Fane possesses it, most notably by giving Rand one of his unhealable wounds.
Let's break down the characters and their defining moments in these chapters.
Alright, I gotta talk about my guy Mat here. Like most Wheel of Time fans, I love Mat, and he ends up being one of my favorite characters. But when I first read The Eye of the World, I honestly did not like Mat, and it began right here, even before he gets the dagger and it starts affecting his personality for a while. The fact that he thinks it's a good idea to go wandering in a city that Myrddraal are afraid of and to follow a weirdo stranger who promises them treasure. A guy named Mordeth. Seriously? And Rand and Perrin. Aren't you supposed to be reining in Mat a little? Perrin is supposed to be the careful thinker, and even he barely objects to this plan. You had one job, Perrin. Love you guys.
Let's talk about what we need to know about the Dark One and all of his minions and followers.
For the first time in these chapters, we see someone, badass Lan of course, kill a Fade. And so we finally get an idea of how difficult they are to kill. Then there's the creepy way they flail around after they are dead. And the whole mechanic of a Myrddraal bonding with a group of Trollocs to control them is interesting. Obviously a huge downside when someone does manage to kill a Fade and then the Trollocs become useless. But apparently Trollocs are just that difficult to manage that it becomes necessary sometimes. By the way, huge shouts to Moraine and Lan for the way they take on the Shadow Spawn in these chapters, proving they are not to be messed with. And Tom too, killing Trollocs by throwing knives from the back of a galloping horse. Damn. As for everyone else, congrats on not getting dead until you can level up.
And now, let's find a little levity amidst the darkness.
Basically everything Bail Domon says is the best. The guy's basically a pirate and he talks like one, threatening to throw people off his boat left and right, and he apparently doesn't have much love for his family either, whether it be mother, brother, or his aged grandmother. Fortune prick me, Bail Domon no give free passage. Thanks for continuing on with me in this reread of The Wheel of Time. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss my next episode in this series where I will get into The Eye of the World chapters 21 through 25. Don't forget to let me know in the comments any favorite bits of foreshadowing or Aiel humor that I've missed so I can give you a shout out in a future video. And whether or no you do be in league with my aged grandmother, be sure to stay tuned for more Wheel of Time content, including speculation for the Wheel of Time TV series. See you next time along the River Arenelle.